Okay. Everyone, welcome to Kol Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org and, of course, the partnership with Yeshiva Torah Shimon. And again, it's always good to see everybody. And I want to always thank all of our listeners and all the beautiful comments that I get from the Shirim. So, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Okay, this is Parshat VaYishlach. And there are so many things to talk about in this parsha. So we're going to do what we've been doing in the past few weeks. So we're going to do an overview. We're going to do an overview of the parsha. We'll go over a few questions and a few things in the parsha. And then we'll learn something inside. We'll see how much time that we have. Okay. First question we're going to start is Yaakov Avinu sends malachim. Right? Rashi says he actually sent angels. They were actual angels. Pretty good, right? Yaakov Avinu was able to control the angels and actually send angels. Pretty good, right? All right. Now the question is, he sent the angels, and they came back. They came back with their report, and they said that Esav is coming towards you. Likrosam with arba. He has 400. He has 400 soldiers. Wow. The Rashbam is really pretty much a das yachid. The Rashbam says that likrosam means to come to tell you that it's really, he was coming it was more as of a parade. And he was not coming at all to cause any problems for Yaakov, but he's the only one that says that. I have to ask a question. Last week's parsha, Yaakov Avinu was promised by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's going to go and he'll come back safely and he'll come back to his father's house. So why is Yaakov so nervous and so anxious at this moment? Let's ask ourselves, why the Torah says that he was very scared. Why should he be very scared? In other words, if Hashem gave him the promise, let's think about it, right? If you have somebody that tells you, I'm going to take care of you and this and that, you feel okay with that if you can rely on the person. But here, this was the Rabbeinu Shloim giving him the haftacha that he's going to come back, right? So Rashi says that in Lovan Garti is Taryag mitzvahs, right? Shamarti, he kept the 613 mitzvahs. And Yaakov says, "Katanti mikol hachasodim." Right? I'm worried that perhaps I have so much things here. I have 2 machanes, and I have the shvatim, and I have all these maids and all these animals. Maybe I used up my merits. Or perhaps that's okay. But then it still lends the question: why was he scared? Why was he scared? There's one school of thought that says that Yaakov Avinu was mamish and onav. He was really a humble person. He was a very, very humble person. And albeit that Hashem promised him and came to him with that nevuah, the dream with the nevuah, the prophecy, he didn't believe it was a prophecy. He didn't believe he had a prophecy. He was so humble. How can it be that Hashem promised me this? That's one school of thought. Another school of thought is a very interesting idea. The Yaakov Avinu right now was very, very nervous about something. He took the brachas from Esav, right? Now he followed what his mother told him to do. And again, he didn't really want to do that, but Rivka was very, very convincing, and she convinced him to dress up and to go into Yaakov Avinu, to go into to Yitzchak, and to take the brachas. Yaakov Avinu is the Isha Emes. Yaakov Avinu is Emes. Titin Emes liYaakov. Yaakov Avinu was petrified that he committed a theft. He stole. He undermined what his father wanted, via listening to his mother, and he took the brachas from Esav. Now he didn't know, am I forgiven for this? Am I forgiven for this? He didn't know. That's why he was so scared. Why did he send the angels? Why did he send the angels in the first place? Because he wanted to see how Esav was going to be. Did Esav forgive him? Or is Esav still on a warpath with him? It's 20 years. Did Esav remember? Is he still angry at him? Or over the years, did Esav forgive him? When they came back and they said that Esav is coming to him with 400 men, what was he scared about? He was scared that he didn't get forgiveness for his Aveira. He didn't get forgiveness. That's what he was scared about. V'horaya, what's the proof? We know the night before he met with Esav, he went over the Yabuk, right? He went over the Yabuk, and he crossed his family. He crossed the wives and the children and the shvachos, right? And he crossed everything. And then he forgot something. So the Torah says that he went back, and we know famous, every year we speak about it, he forgot the pachim ketanim. He forgot these little jugs. Now, it's an interesting thing. What do you mean he forgot these little jugs? And that's why he's going to leave his whole family on the other side, and he's going to leave his family to go back for these little jugs? What was really going on? And then he goes back and he meets somebody that looks like a shepherd. And this shepherd is really an angel. Not just an angel, it's the Sar Shel Esav. He's the angel of Esav, of Edom. And he battles with Yaakov Avinu. He battles with him. He battles with Yaakov Avinu. What was he trying to accomplish? What was he doing? Why was there such a battle? Why was he battling with him? Many reasons. Many reasons. Some say that he was battling with him because Yaakov was actually afraid and he may have ran away. Again, these are different Rishonim that come up with these ideas, and these are not my ideas, all right? And that's why he was hit. Others say, and the Zohar says, that he was hit al the Yerecha. Why was he hit over there in that place of the groin? Well, we'll discuss that in a little bit. Really, what was he trying to do, and why was he attacking him in that place of the Bris Kodesh? What was going on? But let's move on. We'll get back to these things as we go along. So Yaakov Avinu says that he's coming back with the 400 men. And Yaakov Avinu was worried because, again, we said, he stole the brachas, and that was constantly on his mind. And this was his test to see, did he actually forgive me or not? This was his test. So what does he do? He says he's going to split the camps in two, right? And if Chas v'sholom, Esav and his henchmen and his Cossacks come and they attack one of the camps, the other one will be able to be saved. So he'll be saved, and so that was what his plan was. But that's not what he actually did, right? The Torah says that he actually put first the shvachos and their children, the 4 children from the shvachos, right? From Bilhah and Zilpah, right? And then he put Leah and her children. And then it was Rachel and Yosef, right? In that order that he put them in. All right. And we also had an interesting thing. We also had an interesting thing that I want to speak about for a second while we're talking about this. We know that Dina was born last week. Dina was born to Leah, right? You know that Dina was born to Leah because Leah davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Leah made a calculation. She realized Baruch HaKodesh that there's going to be 12 Shvatim. The Shiftei Kah, the 12 Shvatim. And she made a calculation. She said, I already had six children. I had 6 boys. And Bilhah and Zilpah each had 2. That means it's 10. If she would have another boy now, when she was pregnant, that means if Rachel would have any children, Rachel would only be able to have 1. And she didn't want to embarrass her sister, that her sister would have less participate in the Shvatim, less than the Shvachos, than the maidservants. It couldn't be. That's why Dina was born. Leah davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make it that she would have a girl. All right. Now we know that when Yaakov Avinu put Dina in a box, because he didn't want that Esav should see Dina. Right? He didn't want Esav to see Dina. Rashi says why? He was punished with, we had the Maisa with Dina. We'll talk about that in a minute. Rashi says why? What happened? Rashi says that it was not a good thing that he did. Why? Because perhaps she should have married Dina. If Dina should have married Esav, and she could have helped Esav do tshuva. I find that it's a very big kasha. It's a very big kasha. We know that Esav Avraham Avinu was alive for about 15 years. For about 15 years with Esav. And he spent time with Avraham Avinu. Come on, that's pretty good, right? His grandfather's Avraham Avinu. And then he had his father, Yitzchak, Pachad Yitzchak, his father. And he spent all the years with his father. If they couldn't help him to come back to do tshuva, how would this young girl help him to do tshuva? That's one question the Welt asks on Rashi. But again, that's Rashi. And that's what Rashi says. Right. Anyway, we went, okay, so now they wind up meeting after Yaakov has his encounter with the Sar Shel Esav to get his Pachim Ketanim. The next morning, they wind up meeting with Esav. So what happens? The Torah tells us clearly. Esav is there. Yaakov is going towards Esav. And Esav comes running to Yaakov. Now, he had no idea Esav could be running to Yaakov Avinu, and we know he didn't have any love for his brother. There was no brotherly love over there, right? There was no brotherly love over there. Yaakov Avinu was worried. But what was Yaakov doing? And then and the Torah says that he bowed down 7 times. Right? He bowed 7 times. Isn't that strange? Why 7 times? How about this? How about Yaakov Avinu wasn't bowing to Esav, but Yaakov Avinu was actually saying Shmoneh Esrei. How do you like that? How many times do we bow in Shmoneh Esrei? 7 times. We have 7 bows in the Shmoneh Esrei. Right? We bow when we say Baruch Atah Hashem, when we said in the first bracha. Then we bow again by Magen Avram, right? And then we bow again by Modim, right? And then we do again by Hatay Shimcha L'chol L'Haydais. We bow one more time. And then we do when we do Esav Shalom B'Maymav, you do 3 more bows. That's 7. Right? How do you like that? Yaakov Avinu wasn't worried about Esav coming towards him because again, he was talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It wasn't Chas v'Shalom that Yaakov Avinu was bowing to Esav, because we know you're not allowed to bow to a person, right? The Zohar brings us down. You're not allowed to bow to any person. But we see in Yaakov Avinu's life, he bowed twice. He bowed this time here, and he bowed again in the end by Yechi. And then at the end of the par over there, when Yosef came in to Yaakov and he was on his sickbed, he bowed to Yosef again. Right? So what did he do? He didn't bow to Yosef. The Zohar says he didn't bow to Yosef. We know that when the person is sick, he has the Shechina, Mirash Yosef is at the head of the bed. Yaakov Avinu bowed to the Shechina. Yaakov Avinu, another school of thought is Yaakov Avinu saw the Shechina came in front of him, and Yaakov Avinu was bowing to the Shechina. But now we know that then the Shvachos and their children, and then Leah and her children, and Rachel and Yosef all bowed to Esav as well. Did they bow for the same reasons? Did they bow because they were davening, or did they bow because they saw the Shechina Kedosha? We don't know. But there was only one that didn't bow. And who was that? Binyamin. Why? Because Binyamin wasn't born yet. Right? Binyamin wasn't born. So something very, very interesting. We know that the Malchus kingdom was given to Yehuda. Yehuda's the Malchus is by Yehuda. Malchus is Yehuda. But who was the first king of Klal Yisrael? Shaul. Shaul HaMelech was the first king, right? What? You want to say something? Okay, Shaul was the first king. Who was Shaul? Where did Shaul come from? From Shevet Binyamin. Shaul was from Shevet Binyamin. It's very interesting because Binyamin wasn't involved in bowing down to Esav. Binyamin was chosen by Shmuel HaNavi. Of course, it wasn't Shmuel that chose him; it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu that chose him to make him the king. And he said, "Why are you choosing me? I'm the youngest one." He didn't want the job. He didn't want it. But he took it. He took the job. And then he was charged with going to battle. He was charged with going to battle against Amalek. And he was supposed to wipe out Amalek. He was supposed to wipe out the king and all the animals of Amalek, everyone. But what happened? Shaul HaMelech had pity. He had pity on Agag, the king of Amalek, and he let him go. And that night, Agag, he was involved, and the lady became pregnant. And who was born from that? Haman. Haman later was born from Agag. He's a Haman Hagogi, right? Haman Hagogi, right? He's from Agag. And listen to this. How about this? Yaakov Avinu came back later again. He came back in a Gilgal. And who did Yaakov Avinu come back as? Mordechai. What happened now in this case? Haman says to everyone, you have to bow down to me. What does Mordechai say? I I'm not going to bow down to you. I fell for that the first time. I'm not going to do that again. Why didn't Shaul HaMelech kill Agag? He had another psula, right? He had another that was faulty humility, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, I want you to do this. Came along Esther Amalka, and she comes up against Haman, and she has no problem this time. It's okay, we'll kill him. And that's what happened. You see the stories, they're so deep, these stories, how deep they are. And they go so deep. And everything, Maisa Avos Siman Labanim, and everything you can learn out from these parshias is fascinating. All right, well, let's go a little further. When Yaakov Avinu crossed over the Yabok, right, with his children. So Rashi says, he brings the Medrash Haggadah. Rashi brings the Medrash Haggadah. That Yaakov used his stick. And he used the stick in order to make it like a bridge. His stick was the bridge, and he was able to cross the Yabok with the stick. Right? It was the first a wooden bridge, and he crossed everyone with it. Unbelievable. Now let's look over here. Let's look at the pasuk again. Vayivasa Yaakov levadai, v'avek ish imai, ada loisa shachar. So we know that he was fighting with this angel, right? And it was the dust. Rashi says avok is from the word avok. He was fighting with him. But also Rashi says, avok is from the word avok. They were kicking up so much dust. They were fighting so much. There was such a battle going on that the dust made its way all the way up to Shemayim. Rashi says that. Unbelievable. It was the Sar Shel Esav. Now, what happened? Vayarki lo yocholoi vayiga bekaf yireichoi vatoka kol kaf Yerech Yaakov behei ovek koi imai. When he was fighting with him, he was mamish trying to attack the generations. He was trying to attack the generations. The Zohar says he was actually trying to attack Binyamin. He was trying to attack Binyamin. He wanted to make Binyamin shouldn't be pure. But Baruch Hashem, Binyamin wasn't there. He didn't get him. Yamin was already in Rachel Imeinu. He didn't get him. And you see later on when Yosef is in Mitzrayim, right? We're going to read that by Parshas Miketz for 2 more weeks. It's Purim, Chanukah, 2 more weeks. So Yosef Atzadik is in the house alone with Mrs. Potiphar, and she seduced him. And he ran out. Rashi says, what did he see? How was he able to do that? What did Rashi say? He saw the most duknei shalaviv. He saw his father's face. He saw his father's image. Via seeing his father's image, he was able to overcome. He was able to overcome what they say was the greatest test that anyone ever had. That was the greatest test that anyone ever had. All from this point, right here. Right here. Yaakov Avinu was protecting and he was fighting for the purity. Okay. Yeah. And then we ask the question that really, Binyamin, Binyamin, if Shaul HaMelech would have killed Agag and done what he was supposed to have done, so Mashiach would have came right away. Right? We're waiting for Mashiach to come. Once we get rid of Amalek, then Mashiach will come. Mashiach could have came right at that time, but it wasn't the right time. It wasn't that time. Comes the Hanukkah, right? We're coming to Hanukkah. So we know that the Chashmonaim, right? They were from Kuna, from Levi, right? So they didn't. They weren't allowed to be. They weren't allowed to be the kings, but they made themselves kings, and that wasn't good. It wasn't good because really the Malchus is Yehuda's. Once the Malchus was started with Yehuda, that's when it goes on, and it has to be only through Yehuda. Before the Malchus was started with Yehuda, before David HaMelech, and Shaul HaMelech. So then the Malchus by Yehuda wasn't started yet. So that's why Binyamin was able to be the Melech. But once Malchus Yehuda starts, it can't be broken. And that was the problem with the Chashmonaim. Okay. What did the Malach says to Yaakov? He says like this. Vayomer lo Yaakov. Yayomer oid. Shimcha. Your name is not going to be Yaakov anymore. Kiyim Yisrael. But your name is now going to become Yisrael. We're changing your name from Yaakov to Yisrael. Why? Ki soriso im Elokim. Because you were able to battle a godly being. V'im anoshim vatuchal. And people, and you were able to be successful. Rashi says, Elokim is who? The Sar Shel Esav, right? He battled with the Sar Shel Esav. And why does he say Anoshim? Because Yaakov was able to battle with Lavan and Esav. Lavan and Esav, and that was the Anoshim Batuchal. Now, Esav finally comes up. Esav comes, and they finally meet. Right, like we said, and he bowed. But what happened? What changed? What changed Esav's mind? What changed Esav's mind from feeling that hatred and that anger of that he stole the brachas to now come to Yaakov Avinu with a true love with Rachmanis. That's what Rashi says. He came with a lot of Rachmanis. Yaakov Avinu showed Esav a lot of respect. He sent him a lot of animals, and he sent him a lot of things. And what was the point of Yaakov Avinu sending him all the animals and showing him all his material wealth? Well, Yitzchak blessed him that he'd have from the Shmani Aretz, right? He'll have from the Mitala Shemayim u'Mishmani Aretz, right? He'll have from the heavens and from the earth. But Yaakov Avinu says, I was like a ger. I was like a ger when I was at Padan Aram, when I was over there with Lavan. I didn't become like them. Im Lavan Gadi Taryag Mitzvah Shemarti. And Esav kind of felt that Yaakov was truly worthy of the blessing. That he was truly worthy of the blessing. And Esav even said, Yesh li Rav. I have a lot. Yesh li Rav. That's what Esav said. That's Rav Nosson writes, that's the Rav the Klipa. Right? He's the Rav of the Klipa, of the husks of impurity. That's who Esav's Rav is. Huh? Okay. Let's see, we spoke about that. Okay. Agag, right, false humility. Okay. Now let's talk about this. Now let's move on in the Parsha. Okay. We move on in the Parsha. So we had a problem with Dina, right? It says that Dina went out, and then this young man, Shechem, which was the son of Hamor. Interesting, right? His name was Hamor, donkey, right? His mother must have had a hard birth, right? They called him a donkey, right? They called him a donkey, right? Anyway, she goes out. This guy goes out, sees Dina, and he violates her. He violates her, and he goes back to Tata. He goes back to his father, Hamor, Mr. Donkey, and he tells him, "I want to marry this lady. I like this girl. I want this girl." There's many psukim on this. There's a lot of psukim on this. You have to always wonder why the Torah puts so much emphasis on this. So much emphasis on this. So what happened? What happened? So Hamor came to Yaakov Avinu and said that he wants to marry, Shechem wants to marry Dina. And let us be neighbors, and then we can marry each other's children, and it'll be happy, it'll be good. So Shimon and Levi said b'ramois, they said in a tricky, cunning way. What did they say? They said, "Look, it's not befitting that you are not circumcised, and we're circumcised. So if you would all agree to circumcise, then we can talk about it. Then we can make this arrangement." So Hamor said, "Okay," and he went to his people. Shechem, he went there. He spoke to them, and they agreed. They agreed they'll have a bris milah. So we know that Shimon and Levi went, and Shimon and Levi wiped out every male of Shechem. He wiped out every male. We should do that now. We should go to Shechem and do the same thing. But that's another story.
After they had the milah, right?
After they had the milah, when they were weak. He wiped them out. So there are a lot of questions asked. Why were they able to? How were they able to kill? They only killed the men. They didn't kill the ladies, and they didn't kill the girls, right? They only killed the men that were circumcised. So how were they able to kill them? How was it rightfully so that they were able to be killed? It's a very interesting thing, because they had a bris milah. A guy's not allowed to have a bris milah. If a guy has a bris milah, it's chayav misa. They set him up. We know that a guy sheshavas, if a guy keeps Shabbos, any day, not just on Shabbos. If the guy says on Sunday, I'm not going to work, I'm not going to do any malachas, any of the lamed tes malachas and the toldos and the lamed tes malachas, and all the I'm not going to do anything. And he does that, he's chayav misa. He's not allowed to rest. A guy's not allowed to rest. They once asked, I'll just tell you as a joke, there was once a fellow that was working on becoming a ger. He wanted to become a ger tzedek, right? He wanted to become a convert. And it was Shabbos. And they asked him, they said, "Listen, it's Shabbos. You didn't break Shabbos." He says, I did. See, I'm carrying something. They say to him, "But wait a second, there's an Erev here." "I don't hold from the Erev." He doesn't hold from the Erev, so he broke Shabbos because he doesn't hold from the Erev. That's a joke, okay? That's a bedichut. That's not okay. Now that's another interesting thing of how, because people don't understand, they just read it, but you're not allowed to just go kill people for no reason. Right? So what was the point? What were they doing? What was their thought? Their thought is, would they have a bris milah, and a guy that has a bris milah, we can get rid of them. That's why the Torah says it was b'derech ramas. It was in a trickery way. They did it in a very cunning way. I thought that was very interesting that you'd like to hear that. And to me, I was very, very amazed when I was learning that. Okay, now let's go on. So after we have this ma'aseh with Dina, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu comes to Yaakov Avinu, and he says to him, "You should go back to Beisel. Go back to Beisel. That's it. Don't stay here. Go back to Beisel, originally where you were, and you made the mizbeach. Go back over there and start and do that." So Yaakov Avinu starts to travel. Yaakov Avinu starts to travel towards Beisel. On the way, the Torah says something interesting that no one really ever talks about. There was a lady Deborah. Right? There was a lady Deborah. We know there was a Navi, there was a Neviah Deborah. But now there was a lady Deborah in the Parsha. Did you know that? Ernie, do you know there's a lady Deborah in the Parsha? I know. People just read right past it. They don't see it. I'm telling you. I asked a few people, did you know there's Deborah in the Parsha? No way, there's no Deborah. We know there's Rachel and Esav and this. So who was Deborah? Who was this lady Deborah? The Deborah was the Menekes. She was the wet nurse of Rivka. Yaakov's mother. Right? Yaakov's mother was Rivka. What happened? Rivka sent, this Rashi says this, okay? So you look it up in the Rashi on the pasuk. Rashi says that Rivka sent Deborah to Padan Aram, all the way over there by Mesopotamia, all the way far away, to bring Yaakov back. She said, "You're gone too long. Come back." So she said Deborah was the messenger. Deborah wound up passing away on the way back. She was on her way back to Beersheba, where Yitzchak and Rivka were living, right? She was gone on her way back, and she passed away in Beisel. So the Torah says that she passed away in Beisel, and she was buried under a tree called Alon Bachus. It was a tree of mourning, right? Because they were mourning. Because this lady was a nice lady. She traveled. She obviously was an elderly lady, and she went to travel all this way. So of course they were beloved, and Yaakov Avinu knew her. Of course she was the nanny. She was always there. She was like the nanny, probably. So of course Yaakov Avinu knew her, and they all cried and all of that. Now at the end of the parsha, something really strange goes on. The Torah goes and tells us the whole yichus of Esav. The whole yichus of Esav, all his offspring, everything. What is going on? Did you ever ask yourself that? Who cares who Esav's offspring was? I mean, we know a couple of them, right? We know that guy Hitler and the Kazakhs and these guys. We know Asa and we know Haman. We know these guys. Well, the Torah's got to tell me all of these guys, and it's a lot of psukim. So I saw something so amazing to help us understand this. The fact that the Torah writes all these names in there is weakening them. It weakens them. When we read the Torah, and when you're being Mavas Sedra, and you're reading those names, have in mind to destroy all the enemies of Klal Yisrael. How do you like that? They all died. They should all die. All the enemies of Klal Yisrael, wherever they are. There's plenty of them in every city and everywhere in the world today. There's plenty of them, right? There's plenty of them in New York, and they're in Florida, and they're in all the states. They're everywhere. They're in all the countries, wherever you go. Look what happened in Australia. Look what happened in the guys in Australia. I mean, so far away, that place is the place down under, right? But the guys, the terrorists went over there too. Look what they did, right? Right? Look at we lost the Chabad, the Chabad Shliach over there in Dubai. Look at this, in Dubai. Come on. The guy's over there running his little Chabad house and minding his own business, and they come after him, and they kill the guy. Unbelievable. So you see, the enemies of Klal Yisrael are strong. And they're there. But when we read the names, try to have in mind when you're reading the names that you want to blot out all of those guys in the UN. All of them. Right? They should blot them all out. All of those names. Blot them all out. They're all Rishayim anyway. Right? They're all Rishayim. Every single one of them. They're all Rishayim. Blot them out. And I think this is a nice thought. It's a nice thought when you're reading all of these names, you're reading these psukim, and you're saying, why I got to read all these names? I'm destroying another one. Here goes another one. Here goes another one. And that's it's a beautiful machshava that I thought that we can use for the parsha. Now, I mentioned a whole lot of things on the parsha here, and does anyone have any questions or comments? Does anyone have any questions or comments before we go?
Today's non-Jews, can't they be circumcised without being punished? Today's non-Jews.
No. If they want to be circumcised for health reasons, that's fine. But they can't do it b'shem milah.
Oh.
They can't say that I'm doing a bris milah. That they're not allowed to do. Mm-hmm. A guy could be circumcised, yes. If he's doing it because the doctor says it's healthier or whatever, he's doing it for some other reason other than a mitzvah. He's not doing it for a mitzvah, right?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, the other day I'm learning with the Chevra in the morning, every morning we're learning. Now we started doing some Kitzur Shulchan Aruch with them every morning. So we just learned yesterday, we were learning in Hilchas Tefillin and Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. It's in Sif Yud. I think it's letter Yud. It's either letter Yud or Tes, where the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says when you put on your tefillin, you have to have in mind that you're doing a mitzvah saseh. Hey, Hashem told me to put on these tefillin. That's why I'm doing it. Right? You have to have that in mind. Isn't that beautiful? The Kitzur wrote that. It's in the Kitzur. Mamitz, I'm telling you where you can look it up. It's beautiful. He tells you have to have in mind that you're doing what you're doing. That Hashem wanted these parshias in these boxes, and I have to put on the boxes the way they do. And the boxes are beinei necha, that it goes on the top of my head, between my, and so on. Unbelievable. So that's when we say mitzvahs, tzrichas, kavana. We have to have kavana. So if a guy, it's a good point that you brought up, Ernie. Really, a very good point. If a guy wants to have a bris, he can have a bris, but he can't do it because the Torah says you have to have a bris milah. Then he's chayav misa, right?
Okay, right.
Right. Then he's chayav misa, right? I mean, we need the rabbis to teach us that, right? The guy can be in his house. Let's think about it for a second, right? You can be in your house, and you can take, let's say you have your couch, and you want to move it from one end of the room to the other end, right? And then you don't like where the table is, so you move the table and the chairs, right? And then you take the break front and you move it around, right? Mm-hmm. Now you didn't break Shabbos because you did that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you're sitting at your table, and you have in your plate, right? You have in your plate peas and carrots, right? And you're from the chevra that says, I don't like peas. So you sit there and you pull out all of the peas, right? Pull out all of the peas, right? Right? Now you're chayiv skila. The guy's going to get stoned. Wait, hold on a second. This guy's moving around his stuff all day. He's moving his furniture around back and forth. He's okay. And I took some peas out of my plate, right? So all about machshava. These are the halachas, and we have to know we keep the halacha, and that's the most important thing to do, is to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to keep halacha. That's the very important thing. All right, so we have a couple of minutes, so let's learn something inside. Very, very, very nice here. This idea that we learned about before. Vayavar. What's that?
Hold on.
Oh, you have a question, Rav Zushia? Go ahead, Rav Zushia.
Yeah. So we're talking about this thing with the breast. What kind of moil would do something like that?
No, a mile wouldn't do that. But if the person...
Right, but...
No. A mile...
Wouldn't have a breast.
What?
It would just be circumcision.
No. That's... No. His question was, if somebody today... Can somebody today transgress this with a bris? That was Ernie's question. That was not your question. That was your question. That was his question.
That's my question, right?
Right. So Rav Zushia, if somebody would do that, if a guy would say, listen, I know the Jews have a bris, and I want to have a bris the same way the Jews want to do it. You understand? And he does it for that reason. So that's a problem. That's a problem, right? Right? The same way if a guy sleeps all day, right? If a guy sleeps all Shabbos, he doesn't get up at all. He sleeps the whole day, 26 hours, he's sleeping the whole time. He's not Chayav Misa because he was a goy Shabbos b'Shabbos is Chayav Misa because if he had in mind that he would be Chayav Misa. But again, just because he did it doesn't mean he's Chayav Misa. You understand?
Right.
But because there are a lot of decent Americans out there that do get circumcisions. I happen to know a few doctors that deliver babies. You know, these guys, the OBGYN guys, right? These guys. So they part of the thing they offer a circumcision on the baby if they want.
On the babies in the hospital anyway.
Yeah. But they do it as a medical procedure. They're not doing it b'shei mila. They're not doing it b'shei mila. They're doing it just as a medical procedure. So that's okay. Let's learn something for 5 minutes inside before we run out of time. So we have 10. Okay, here we go. Vayavar es mavar yabuk. And he crossed over the Yabuk, right? We have the Yabuk going on right now. They're talking about it with Syria now, right? The Yabuk is back and running again today. Is that amazing? Rabbi Yehudi, you heard about that? They're talking about the Yabuk again. Unbelievable, mamish. Anyway, they say everything's in the parsha, right? You see it. They didn't talk. I didn't hear about the Yabuk in a long time. The Yabuk. They're talking. Oh, anyway. Perish Rashi also atzmai kigeshe. Rashi says he made himself with the stick. He made himself like a bridge. Rashi says that Yaakov stretched himself out, and everyone was able to walk on him. And the others say it was with a stick. He used a stick. Whatever, either way, that's what Rashi is saying. Ki Yaakov hu bechinas emes. Yaakov is an aspect of emes. Like we say, K'moshe Kosev Titein Emes LiYaakov. Right? It says in Micha Zayin, Titein Emes LiYaakov. Yaakov it personifies Emes. Ki Iker HaGesher Laver, Ola B'Zeh Olam Hu Emes. The main way to pass through this world, and you want to be successful in this world, you have to be very honest. Honesty is the best policy and the best way to be able to be successful in the world. Rabbi Nachman writes in lesson 58 in Likutei Tinyan in the second book, right? There's a song, they made a song of that, right? That a person has to go through this world as if he's on a narrow bridge. The main thing is, don't make yourself scared. Not that you shouldn't be scared. Don't make yourself scared. Don't terrify yourself. And as a person knows that everything that's going on in the world, and kol mad ovid v'achmana l'tav ovid. If everyone really knows that, and they really believe that, so why am I scared? No one can do anything for me if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't will it. If Hashem didn't will it, they can't do anything. Why am I going to make myself crazy? And that's the emes. How do you merit to cross over this bridge? This narrow bridge in the world and be successful without falling off and falling into the water, falling down? Who are you, they emes? You have to use truth. Right? So im emes yechaylim laver kol oila. With truth, he can pass through the entire world. He can be successful in the world. Ki ikahu emes. The main thing is truth. Ki chaismai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu emes. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu's signature is what? Emes. Truth. Hashem's signature, he signs. Hashem signs his name, whatever that means. His name signature is Emes. How do you know that? K'moshe Kosev, Chazal tell us, Bereishis bara Elokim. The first three letters in the Torah. Bereshis, Bar Elikim, Seifei Tevis is Emes. How do you like that? The three, here you have it. You see, you have a Tuf over here, you have an Aleph over here, and a Mem. So you take the Aleph and the Mem and the Tuf, and then you get yourself Emes. That's Emes. 3 letters, Emes. That's how the whole world stands. That's what the world stands on Emes. And all the confusions that the people have when it comes to serving Hashem, they don't know, do I do this, should I do that, do I do the mitzvah like this, do I do it like that, and all of that stuff. The main thing is in the mind. Right, I was just talking to a young man the other day. Baruch Hashem, this week we had a baby, we had a granddaughter. Baruch Hashem. Thank you. We had a baby girl, and this is the first time we had a granddaughter that was born in Eretz Yisrael. So this was a big simcha to us, right? And we had the schus that on Monday morning, the baby was born Sunday, Baruch Hashem, and on Monday morning we went to the Kaisel Maravi, right? And we made a Nate's Minyan there. Of course, there's a lot of many minyanim going on, but we had enough people ourselves. We made our own minyan. Baruch Hashem. And there were a lot of young men that came along, some guys from yeshiva and this, and they said, "Wow, it's amazing! It's amazing that I'm here so early. It's so beautiful." I don't know if any of you had the schus to daven at the Kaisel Nates. It's such a beautiful experience to be there. It's so quiet. And as soon as they daven Nates, when it turns Nates and everyone goes to Shemona Esrei, you can literally hear a pin drop in the Kaisel. You can literally hear a pin drop. It's the most beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. You know, it's noisy, a lot of things going on, rustle and buzz, all that. As soon as Nates, quiet, unbelievable. So there was one young man after davening I was talking to. And I said to him, he said, I never really get up for Nates. Once in a while I do. And as I said to him, if you're getting up early already, and you're up a little before Alaysa Shachi, you could say Tikkun Chatzos. You could say Tikkun Chatzos. Wow, look at that. So he says, yeah, but he was saying that, what do I have to do with Tikkun Chatzos? I said like this. I said, in Shemayim, there are a lot of different places. There are a lot of different rooms and a lot of different places. Beautiful things that we'll see in Metz Hashem after 120 years. And they have the room with guys that were involved in Tikkun Chatzos. So I said, if you never said Tikkun Chatzos, they won't let you in there. But as long as you said Tikkun Chatzos, you have something to do with it. The same way they say there are different chadarim for every Masechta, right? So you learn a Masechta, go through it, and you can go in there, you can do more, you can learn more about it, but you have to have something to do with it. And these what we're talking about here, the manias that people have in Avodas Hashem. That I don't know, this is not for me, I don't know why, but okay, so once in a while do it, right? Once in a while. You get up early, sit down and say the Tikkun Chatzos. Why not? It doesn't take that long. The whole thing takes 15 minutes. You say it nice, a Tikkun Leah, a Tikkun Rachel, right? You say the Tikkun Chatzos. It's not such a long thing, but a beautiful thing. So these people have manias, sheyesh l'adam ha'avodas Hashem. They have a lot of obstacles that stand in their way from serving Hashem. Shikha manias hamayach. But the main thing is the mania and the mayach, their own minds. Their own mind. The main way to get past through everything and to be successful is through truth. Right? Like it says, David HaMelech says, send me your light and your truth, Hashem. Right? And that'll be there for my necham, that'll be there to comfort me. Right, I got to go in the way of truth. Yaakov made himself, like Rashi says, like a bridge. Ki Yaakov asa atzma ki geshe lahatzil es kol asher loy mi pachad halayla umi pachtoi shel Esav sheholach likrosei. He was able to save everything and let them cross over the sea, cross over that river, the Yabok River. They cross over. There was no bridge. There was no way to cross over. And the women and children couldn't cross over. So he made himself like a bridge. And they crossed over. That was the truth. And that's the truth when it comes to all of the fears, right? All the different fears and the different trials and pains that people have and their obstacles. The Yetzer comes to us in all different ways. He's so crafty. The Yetzer is so crafty. He comes in all different types of ways, shapes, and forms. He does that. He never gives up. Right? Esav kayadu, okay. He comes in, anyway, Shehu Bechinas Esav kayadu, it's all Esav. That's Sar Shal Esav. The Esav is the Sar Shal Esav. Yaakov Avinu was fighting the Sar Shal Esav for us. That we can have, when we believe in Yaakov Avinu, when we believe in the Tzaddikim, and that's why every day we speak, and we say in the Shmon Esrei, Elekei Avram, Elekei Yitzchak, Elekei Yaakov. We remind ourselves, well, we're connected to these people. We're connected to these avos. We are connected to them. And I can believe, and I have to believe, that the same way Yaakov Avinu is emes, I have within me emes. I have to reveal it, but I have it within me. It's Esav that's trying to stop me. But Yaakov Avinu battled for us. Kayadu aval ken Yaakov simen lebanav sheyev shelavar al kol hapachodim ha'ela kiyim al yedei emes. Yaakov Avinu taught the shiftei kah. It's all about truth. It's all about truth. Hu bechinas Yaakov she'asa es atzma kigesher shebekoyach hazeh yichoy lelaver bezer olam. A person can pass through this world. Kol yemei chayav. All the days of his life, al geshet tzar shetzrich laver ola beli pachad, without any fear. I guess we'll stop over here. But it's such a beautiful idea to realize that, it's all about emes. And we said the Chaismai Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is emes. Bereshis bara elikim. Seifei Tevis is emes. And if we work on the emes, we can always accomplish anything that we need. And that's why, like we brought him before with Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu is emes. When his mother told him, I have to go dress up as Esav, and I have to tell my father that I'm Esav. Do you know how difficult that was for Yaakov? Do you know how difficult that was? It wasn't that he played dress up. It was the most difficult thing he had to ever do. He's coming to his father. Pachad Yitz, he's coming to his father and he's saying, no, I'm Esav. Whoa. This is Titin Emes Yaakov. Now you understand the severity of what Yaakov was going through. How Yaakov had the pachad that maybe he wasn't forgiven. That maybe he wasn't forgiven for what he did. Because again, Yaakov is held on a high level. We know that on the Kisei HaKavod, Yaakov Avinu's image is on the Kisei HaKavod. We know that Yaakov Avinu is connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But Yaakov Avinu was worried, maybe I wasn't forgiven. But when Esav came, and Esav came over and he greeted him, and everything was okay, Yaakov Avinu felt comforted. And Esav even told him, let's travel together. Let's travel. Yaakov said, no, that's okay. You go your way. He went to Har Seir, right? We say every morning, we're waiting for our Kodesh to go to Har Seir, Lishbait das Har Esav. V'yisrael Hashem amlucha v'Hashem lemelech al kol haaretz v'yayim ahu yeh Hashem echad u'shmai echad. I want to wish everybody a wonderful, beautiful Shabbos. And remember, counting down the days to Chanukah. B'Yetz Hashem. And does anyone want to say anything before we close out the class today? What? I want to say Yeshikoyah to everyone that participated. Okay? We should have a beautiful Shabbos. Everyone, we should all hear B'Seiris Tova.